Meditation according to Vedanta. Why God? I've been asked many times, why do you use that old word God? Because it is the best word for our purpose. You cannot find a better word than that, because all the hopes, aspirations, and the happiness of humanity have been centered in that word. It is impossible now to change the word. Words like these were first coined by great saints who realized their import and understood their meaning. But as they become current in the society, ignorant people take these words, and the result is that they lose their spirit and glory. The word God has been used from the time immemorial, and the idea of this cosmic intelligence and all that is great and holy is associated with it. Do you mean to say that because some fool says it is not all right, we should throw it away? Another man may come and say, take my word, and another again, take my word. So there would be no end to foolish words. Use the old word, only use it in the true spirit. Cleanse it of superstition and realize fully what this great ancient word means. The Vedantic conception of God. What is the God of Vedanta? He is principle, not person. You and I are all personal gods. The absolute God of the universe, the creator, preserver, and the destroyer of the universe is in principle, impersonal principle. You and I, the cat, rat, devil, and ghost, all these are its persons. All are personal gods. You want to worship personal gods. It is a worship of your own self. If you take my advice, you will never enter any church. Come out and go and wash off. Wash yourself again and again until you are cleansed of all the superstitions that have clung to you through ages. I have been asked many times, why do you laugh so much and make so many jokes? I become serious sometimes when I have the stomachache. The Lord is all blissfulness. He is the reality beyond all that exists. He is the goodness, the truth, and everything. You are His incarnations. That is what is glorious. The nearer you are to Him, the less you will have occasions to cry or weep. The further we are from Him, the more will long faces come. The more we know of Him, the more misery vanishes. God is the infinite, impersonal being, ever existent, unchanging, immortal, fearless, and you are all His incarnations, His embodiments. This is the God of Vedanta, and His heaven is everywhere. The God and the methods of realization. As every science has its methods, so has every religion. Methods of attaining the end of a religion is called yoga. And different forms of yoga that we teach are adapted to the different natures and temperaments of men. We classify them in the following way under our four heads. Karma yoga, the manner in which a man realizes his own divinity through works and duty. Bhakti yoga, the realization of a divinity through devotion to and love of a personal God. Raja yoga, the realization of divinity through control of mind. Jnana yoga, the realization of man's own divinity through knowledge. These are all different roads leading to the same center, God. Pray for illumination. Pray for illumination. I meditate on the glory of that being who created this universe. May He illuminate my mind. Sit and meditate on this 10 or 15 minutes. Tell your experiences to no one but your guru. Take as little as possible. Keep your thoughts on virtue, what we think we tend to become. Holy meditation helps to burn out all mental impurities. Dehypnotize. Meditation has been laid stress upon by all religions. The meditative state of mind is declared by the yogis to be the highest state in which the mind exists. When the mind is studying the external object, it gets identified with it, loses itself. To use the simile of the old Indian philosopher, the soul of the man is like a piece of crystal, but it takes the color of whatever is near it. Whatever the soul touches, it has to take its color. That is the difficulty. That constitutes the bondage. The color is so strong, the crystal forgets itself and identifies itself with the color. Suppose a red flower is near the crystal and the crystal takes the color and forgets itself, thinks it's red. We have taken the color of the body and have forgotten what we are. All the difficulties that follow come from that one dead body. All our fears, all worries, anxiety, troubles, mistakes, weakness, evil are all from that one great blunder, that we are bodies. The practice of meditation is pursued. The crystal knows what it is, takes its own color. It is meditation that brings us nearer to the truth than anything else. Here and now. Do not wait to have a harp and dress by degrees. Why not take the harp and begin here? Why wait for heaven? Make it here. How can we understand that Moses saw God unless we too see him? If God ever came to anyone, he will come to me. I will go to God direct. Let him talk to me. I cannot take belief as a basis. That is atheism and blasphemy. If God speak to a man in the deserts of Arabia 2,000 years ago, he can also speak to me today. Else how can I know that he has not died? Come to God any way you can, only come. But in the coming, do not push anyone down. An Indian lullaby. There was once a Hindu queen who was not so much desired that all her children should attain freedom in this life, and she herself took all the care of them. And as she rocked them to sleep, she sang always this one song to them. That Swam Asi, thou art art, that thou art art. 3 of them became sannyasis, but the 4th was taken away to be brought up elsewhere to become a king. As he was leaving home, the mother gave him a piece of paper that he was to read when he grew to manhood. On that piece of paper was written, God alone is true, all else is false. The soul never kills or is killed, live alone or in the company of holy ones. When the young prince read this, he too at once renounced the world and became a sannyasi. A tale of 2 birds. The whole of Vedanta philosophy is in this story. 2 birds of golden plumage sat in the same tree. The one above, serene, majestic, immersed in his own glory, the one restless and eating fruit of the tree, now sweet, now bitter. Once he ate an exceptionally bitter fruit, and he paused and looked up at the majestic bird above, but he soon forgot about the other bird and went on eating the fruits of the trees as before. Again he ate a bitter fruit, and this time he hopped up a few boughs nearer to the bird at the top. This happened many times until at last lower bird came to a place with the upper bird and lost himself. He found all at once that there had never been 2 birds, but that he was all the time that upper bird, serene, majestic, and immersed in his own glory. Be grateful. Be grateful to him who curses you, for he gives you a mirror to show what cursing is, also a chance to practice self-restraint. So bless him and be glad. Without exercise, power cannot come out. Without the mirror, we cannot see ourselves. The angels never do wicked deeds, so they never get punished and never get saved. Blows are what awaken us and help us break the dream. They show us the insufficiency of this world and make us long to escape, to have freedom. From solitude to society. Swamiji. Shankara left his Advaita philosophy in the hills and forests, while I have come to bring it out of those places and scatter it broadcast before the workday world and society. The lion roar of Advaita must resound in every hearth and home, in meadows and groves, over hills and plains. Come all of you to my assistance and set yourself to work. Disciple. Sir, it appeals to me rather to realize that state through meditation than to manifest it in action. Swamiji. That is but a state of stupefaction, as under liquor. What will be the use of merely remaining like that? To the urge of Advaitic realization, you should sometimes dance wildly and sometimes remain lost to outward sense. Does one feel happy to taste a good thing by oneself? One should share it with others. Granted that you attain personal liberation by the means of realization of Advait, but what matters it to the world? You must liberate the whole universe before you leave this body. Then only you will be established in the eternal truth. Has that bliss any match, my boy? Who can know the knower? Disciple, if I'm a Brahman, why don't I always realize it? Swamiji, in order to attain that realization in the conscious plane, some instrumentality is required. The man is that instrument in us, but it is a non-intelligent substance. It only appears to be intelligent through the light of the Atma behind. Therefore, it is certain that you will not be able to know the Atma, the essence of intelligence, through the mind. You have to go beyond the mind. The real fact is that there is no state. There is a state behind the conscious plane where there is no duality of the knower, knowledge, and the instrument of knowledge, etc. When the mind is merged, the state is perceived. I say it is perceived because there is no other word to express the state. Knowledge cannot express the state. What is beyond? The processes of evolution, higher and higher combinations, are not in the soul. It is already what it is. They are the nature. But as nature is evolving forward into higher and higher combinations, more and more the majesty of the soul is manifesting itself. Suppose here is a screen, and behind the screen is a wonderful scenery. There is one small hole in the screen through which we can catch only a little bit of that scenery behind. Suppose that hole becomes increased in size. As a hole increases in size and more of the scenery behind comes within the range of vision, and when the whole screen has disappeared, there is nothing between the scenery and you. You see the whole of it. The screen is a mind of man. Behind it is the majesty, the purity, the infinite power of the soul, and as the mind becomes clearer and clearer, purer and purer, more of the majesty of the soul manifests itself. Not that the soul is changing, but the change is in the screen. The soul is the unchangeable one, the immortal, the pure, the ever-blessed one. Be the witness. See when the tyrant hand is on your neck, I am the witness, I am the witness. Say, I am the spirit, nothing external can touch me. When evil thoughts arise, repeat that, give that the sledgehammer blow on their heads. I am the spirit, I am the witness, and ever blessed. I have no reason to do, no reason to suffer. I have finished with everything. I am the witness. I am in my picture gallery. This universe is my museum. I am looking at these successive paintings. They are all beautiful. Whether good or evil, I see the marvelous skill, but it is all one. Infinite flames of the greater painter. Do we want God? Let us ask ourselves each day, do we want God? When we begin to talk religion, especially when we take a higher position and begin to teach others, we must ask ourselves the same question. I find many times that I don't want God, I want bread more. I may go mad if I don't get a piece of bread. Many ladies will go mad if they don't get a diamond pin. But they don't have the same desire for God. They do not know the only reality that is in the universe. There is a proverb in our language. If I want to be a hunter, I'll hunt the rhinoceros. If I want to be a robber, I'll rob the king's treasury. What is the use of robbing beggars or hunting ants? So if you want to love God. The soul and its bondage. We are the infinite being of the universe and have become materialized into these little beings, men and women, depending upon the sweet word of one man and the angry word of another, and so forth. What a terrible dependence. What a terrible slavery. If you pinch my body, I feel pain. If one says a kind word, I begin to rejoice. See my condition. Slave of the body, slave of the mind, slave of the world, slave of the good word, slave of the bad word, slave of passion, slave of happiness, slave of life, slave of death, slave of everything. The slavery has to be broken. Think always, I am Brahman. So, what is the meditation of Janani? He wants to rise above in every idea of body or mind, to drive away the idea that he is the body. What makes the body nice? To enjoy the illusion once more. To continue slavery? Let it go. I am not the body. That is the way of Janani. The Bhakt says, the Lord has given me this body that I may safely cross the ocean of life and may cherish it until the journey is accomplished. The yogi says, I must be careful of the body so that I may go steadily and finally attain liberation. It is all in fun. It is all play. Play. God Almighty plays. That is all. You're the Almighty God playing. If you want to play on the side and take part of a beggar, you are not to blame someone else for making the choice. You enjoyed being the beggar. You know your real nature to be divine. You are the king and play. You are a beggar. It is all fun. Know it and play. That is all there is to it. Then practice it. The whole universe is a vast play. All is good because all is fun. When I was a child, I was told by someone that the God watches everything. I went to bed and looked up and expected the ceiling of the room to open. Nothing happened. Nobody's watching us except ourselves. No God except our own self. Do not be miserable. Do not repent. What is done is done. If you burn yourself, take the consequences. Be sensible. We make mistakes. What of that? That is all in fun. They go so crazy over this past sins, moaning and weeping and all that. Do not repent. After having done the work, do not think of it. Go on, stop not. Do not look back. What will you gain by looking back? He who knows that he is free is free. He who knows that he is bound is bound. What is the end and aim of life? None. Because I know that I am infinite. If you are beggars, you can have aims. I have no aims, no want, no purpose. I come to your country and lecture just for fun. A psalm of life. In enjoyment is the fear of disease, in high birth the fear of losing caste. In wealth the fear of tyrants, in honor the fear of losing her. In strength the fear of enemies, in beauty the fear of the other sex. In knowledge the fear of defeat, in virtue the fear of scandal, in the body the fear of death. In this life all is fraught with fear. Renunciation alone is fearless. In the Search of God and Other Poems, p. 81. Let bygones be bygones. If I teach you, therefore, that your nature is evil, that you should go home and sit in the sackcloth and ashes, weep your lives out because you took certain false steps, it will not help you, but will weaken you all the more. And I shall be showing you the road to more evil than good. If this room is full of darkness for thousands of years, and you come in and begin to weep and wail, how will the darkness vanish? Strike a match and light comes in a moment. What good will it do to you to think of all your lives, oh, I have done evil, I have made many mistakes? It requires no ghost to tell us that. Bring in the light and the evil goes in a moment. Build up your character and manifest your real nature, the effulgent, the resplendent, the ever pure, and call it up in everyone that you see. The living God is within you. The living God is within you, and yet you are building churches and temples and believing all sorts of imaginary nonsense. The only God to worship is a human soul in the human body. Of course, all animals are temples too, but man is the highest, the Taj Mahal of temples. If I cannot worship in that, no other temple will be of any advantage. The moment I have realized God sitting in the temple of every human body, the moment I stand in reverence before every human being and see God in him, that moment I am free from bondage. Everything that binds vanishes, and I am free. The Lord is yours. Do you feel for others? If you do, you are growing in oneness. If you do not feel for others, you may be the most intellectual giant ever born, but you will be nothing. You are but dry intellect, and you will remain so. And if you feel, even if you cannot read any book and do not know any language, you are the right way. The Lord is yours. Do you not know from the history of the world where the power of the prophets lay? Where was it? In the intellect? Did any of them write a fine book on philosophy or on the most intricate renunciations of logic? Not one of them. They only spoke a few words. Feel like Christ and you will be a Christ. Feel like Buddha and you will be a Buddha. It is a feeling that is life, the strength, the vitality without which no amount of intellectual activity can reach God. It is through the heart that the Lord is seen and not through intellect. No one to blame. Blame none of your own faults. Stand upon your own feet and take the whole responsibility upon yourselves. Say, this misery that I am suffering is of my own doing, and that the very thing proves that it will have to be undone by me alone. That which I created, I can demolish. That which is created by someone else, I shall never be able to destroy. Therefore, stand up, be bold, be strong. Take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you are the creator of your own destiny. All the strength and succor you want is within yourself. Therefore, make your own future. Let the dead past bury its dead. The infinite future is before you, and you must always remember that each word, thought, and deed lay up a store for you, and that his bad thoughts and bad words are ready to spring upon you like tigers. So also there is a inspiring hope that the good thoughts and good deeds are ready with the power of 100,000 angels to defend you always and forever. The world, neither good nor bad. If 1 millionth part of the man and woman who live in this world simply sit down for a few minutes and say, you are all God, O ye men and O ye animals and living beings, you are all the manifestations of the one living deity, the whole world would be changed in half an hour. Instead of throwing tremendous bombshells of hatred into every corner, instead of projecting currents of jealousy and evil thought, in every country people would think that it is all He. He is all that you see and feel. How can you see evil until there is evil in you? How can you see the thief unless he is there, sitting in the heart of your heart? How can you see the murderer until you yourself are the murderer? Be good and evil will vanish for you. The whole universe will thus be changed. Here is another thing to learn. We cannot possibly conquer all the objective environments. We cannot. The little fish wants to fly from its enemies in the water. How does it do so? By evolving wings and becoming a bird. The fish did not change the water or the air. The change was in itself. Change is always subjective. All through evolution, you find that the conquest of nature comes by the change in the subject. Apply this to religion and morality, and you will find that the conquest of evil comes by the change in the subjective alone. That is how the Advaita system gets its whole force, on the subjective side of man. To talk of evil and misery is nonsense because they do not exist outside. I may make bold to say that the only religion which agrees with and even goes a little further than modern researchers, both in physical and moral lines, is the Advaita, and that is why it appeals to the modern scientists so much. Allegri. Picture the self to be the rider and this body the chariot, the intellect to be the charioteer, mind the reins, and the senses the horses. He whose horses are well broken, whose reins are strong and kept well in the hands of the charioteer, the intellect, reaches the goal, which is the state of him, the omnipresent. But the man whose horses the senses are not controlled, nor the reins the mind well managed, goes to destruction. Morality and religion. Religion comes when the actual realization in our own soul begins. That will be the dawn of religion, and then alone we shall be moral. Now we are not much moral than the animals. We are only held down by the whips of society. If society said today, I will not punish you if you steal, we should just make a rush for each other's property. It is a policeman that makes us moral. It is a social opinion that makes us moral. And really, we are little better than animals. We understand how much this is, so in the secret of our own hearts. So let us not be hypocrites. This is the watchword of Vedanta. Realized religion, no talking will do, but it is done with great difficulty. He has hidden himself inside the atom, this ancient one who resides in the inmost recess of every human heart. The sages realized him through the power of introspection. See God in everything. From my childhood, I have heard of seeing God everywhere and in everything. And then I can really enjoy the world, but as soon as I mix with the world and get a few blows from it, the idea vanishes. I'm walking in a street thinking that God is in every man, and a strong man comes along and gives me a push, and I fall flat on the footpath. Then I rise up quickly with a clenched fist, and the blood has rushed to my head, and the reflection goes. Immediately I have become mad. Everything is forgotten. Instead of encountering God, I see the devil. Ever since we were born, we have been told to see God in all. Every religion teaches that. See God in everything and everywhere. Never mind failures, they are quite natural. They are the beauty of life, these failures. What would life be without them? It would not be worth having if it were not for the struggles. Where would be the poetry of life? Never mind the struggles, the mistakes. I never heard a cow tell a lie because it was only a cow, never a man. So never mind these failures, these little backslidings. Hold the ideal 1,000 times, and if you fail 1,000 times, make the attempt once more. The ideal of man is to see God in everything. Towards the goal supreme. If a man plunges headlong into foolish luxuries of the world without knowing the truth, he has missed his footing, he cannot reach the goal. And if a man curses the world, goes into a forest, mortifies his flesh, and kills himself little by starvation, makes his heart a barren waste, kills out all the feelings and becomes harsh, stern, and dried up, the man also has missed the way. These are the two extremes, the two mistakes at either end. Both have lost the way, both have missed the goal. Unfortunately, in this life, the vast majority of persons are groping through the dark life without any ideal at all. If a man with an ideal makes 1,000 mistakes, I'm sure that the man without an ideal makes 50,000. Therefore, it is better to have an ideal. And this ideal we must hear about as much as we can till it enters into our hearts, into our brains, into our very veins, until it tingles in every drop of our blood and permeates every pore in our body. We must meditate upon it. Out of the fullness of the heart and the mouth speaketh. That out of the fullness of the heart the hand works too. What makes us miserable? The cause of all miseries from which we suffer is desire. You desire something and the desire is not fulfilled. The result is distress. If there is no desire, there is no suffering. But here too there is a danger of being misunderstood. So it is necessary to explain what I mean by giving up desire and becoming free from all the misery. The walls have no desire and they never suffer. True. But they never evolve. This chair has no desires, it never suffers, but is always a chair. There is a glory in happiness, but there is a glory in suffering. As for me, I'm glad that I've done something good and many things bad. Glad that I've done something right. Glad that I've committed many errors, because every one of them has been a great lesson. I, as I am now, am the resultant of all that I have done, all that I have thought. Every action and thought have had their effect, and their effects are the sum total of my progress. The solution is this: not that you should not have property, not that you should not have the things which are necessary and things which are even luxuries. Have all that you want and more, only the truth, and realize it. Wealth does not belong to anybody. Have no idea of proprietorship, possessorship. You are nobody, nor am I, nor anyone else. All belongs to the Lord. Quintessence of Vedanta. Here I can only lay before you what the Vedanta seeks to teach, and that is the deification of the world. The Vedanta does not in reality denounce the world. The ideal of renunciation nowhere attains such a height as in the teachings of Vedanta. But at the same time, dry suicidal advice is not intended. It really means deification of the world, giving up the world as we think of it, as we know of it, as it appears to us, and to know what it really is. Deify it. It is the God alone. We read at the commencement of one of the oldest of the Upanishads, whatever exists in the universe is to be covered with the Lord. We have to cover everything in the Lord Himself, not by false sort of optimism, not by blinding our eyes to the evil, but by really seeing God in everything. Thus we have to give up the world, and the world is given up. What remains? God. What is meant? You can have your wife. It does not mean that you have to abandon her, but you are to seek God in the wife. Give up your children. What does that mean? To turn them out of the doors, as some human brutes do in every country? Certainly not. That is diabolism. That is not in religion. But see God in your children. So in everything. In life and in death, in happiness and in misery, the Lord is equally present. The whole world is full of the Lord. Open your eyes and see Him. That is what Vedanta teaches. A tremendous assertion indeed. Yet that is a theme which the Vedanta wants to demonstrate, to teach, and to preach. Why weepest thou, my friend? Why weepest thou, my friend? There is neither birth nor death for thee. Why weepest thou? There is no disease nor misery for thee, but thou art like the infinite sky. Clouds of various colors come over it, play for a moment, then vanish. But the sky is ever the same eternal blue. Why do we see wickedness? There was a stump of a tree, and in the dark a thief came that way and said, "There is a policeman." A young man waiting for his beloved saw it and thought it was his sweetheart. A child who has been told ghost stories took it for a ghost and began to shriek. But all the time it was the stump of a tree. We see the world as we are. Do not talk of the wickedness of the world and all its sin. Weep that you are bound to see wickedness yet. Weep that you are bound to see sin everywhere. And if you want to help the world, do not condemn it. Do not weaken it more. For what is sin and what is misery and what are all these but the results of weakness? The world is made weaker and weaker every day by such teachings. Men are taught from childhood that they are weak and sinners. Teach them that they are all glorious children of immortality, even those who are weakest in manifestation. Let positive, strong, helpful thought enter into their brains from the very childhood. The snare of Maya. Once Narad said to Krishna, "Lord, show me Maya." A few days passed away, and Krishna asked Narad to make a trip with him towards the desert, and after walking for several miles, Krishna said, "Narad, I'm thirsty. Can you fetch some water for me?" I will go at once, sir, and get you water. So Narad went. At a little distance there was a village. He entered the village in search of water and knocked at a door, which was opened by a most beautiful young girl. At the sight of her, he immediately forgot that his master was waiting for water, perhaps dying for the want of it. He forgot everything and began to talk with the girl. All the day he was again at the house talking to the girl. The talk ripened into love. He asked the father of the daughter, and they were married and lived there and had children. Thus 12 years passed. His father-in-law died. He inherited his property. He lived, as he seemed to think, a very happy life with his wife and children, his fields and his cattle, and so forth. Then came a flood. One night the river rose until it overflowed its bank and flooded the whole village. Houses fell. Men and animals were swept away and drowned. Everything was floating in the rush of a stream. Narad had to escape. With one hand he held his wife, and with the other two of his children. Another child was on his shoulders, and he was trying to ford his tremendous food. After a few steps he found the current was too strong, and the child on his shoulders fell and was borne away. A cry of despair came from Narad. In trying to save the child, he lost his grasp upon one of the others, and it was also lost. At last his wife, whom he clasped with all his might, was torn away by the current, and he was thrown on the bank, weeping and wailing in bitter lamentation. Behind him there came a gentle voice. "My child, where is the water? You went to fetch a pitcher of water, and I'm waiting for you. You haven't gone for quite half an hour." "Half an hour!" Nod exclaimed. 12 whole years had passed through his mind, and all these scenes had happened in half an hour. And this is Maya. Life inspires life. A man comes. You know he's very learned, his language is beautiful, and he speaks to you by the hour. But he does not make any impression. Another man comes and he speaks a few words, not well arranged, ungrammatical perhaps, all the same, he makes an immense impression. Many of you have seen that. So it is evident the words alone cannot always produce an impression. Words, even thoughts, contribute only 1/3 of the influence in making an impression. The man, 2/3. What you call the personal magnetism of the man, that is what goes out and impresses you. Coming to great leaders of the mankind, we always find that it was the personality of the man that counted. Now take all the great authors of the past, the great thinkers. Really speaking, how many thoughts have they thought? Take all the writings that have been left to us by the past leaders of the mankind, take each one of their books and appraise them. The real thoughts, new and genuine, that have been thought up in the world up to this time amount to only a handful. Read in their books the thoughts they have left to us. The authors do not appear to be giant to us, and yet we know that they are great giants in their days. What made them so? Not simply the thoughts they thought, neither the books they wrote, nor the speeches they made. It was something else that is now gone. That is their personality. As I have already remarked, the personality of the man is 2/3, and his intellect, his words, are but 1/3. It is a real man, the personality of the man, that runs through us. Spiritual boldness. In the mutiny of 1857, there was a Swami, a very great soul, whom a Mohammedan mutineer stabbed severely. The Hindu mutineers caught and brought the man to the Swami, offering to kill him. But the Swami looked up calmly and said, "My brother, thou art he, and expired." Stand up, men and women, in this spirit, dare to believe in the truth, dare to practice the truth. The world requires a few hundred bold men and women. Practice that boldness which dares to know the truth, which dares to show the truth in life, which does not quake before death, nay, welcomes death, makes a man know that he is the spirit, that the whole universe, nothing can kill him. Then you will be free. Then you will know your real soul. This Atma is first to be heard, then thought about, and then meditated upon. A wisp of straw. In some oil mills in India, bullocks are used to go round and round to grind the old seed. There is a yoke on the bullock's neck. They have a piece of wood protruding from the yoke, and on that is fastened a wisp of straw. The bullock is blindfolded in such a way that it can only look forward, and so it stretches its neck to get the straw, and in doing so it pushes the piece of wood out a little further, and it makes another attempt with the same result, and yet another, and so on. It never catches the straw, but goes round and round in the hope of getting it, and in doing so grinds out the oil. In the same way, you and I, who are born slaves to nature, money and wealth, wives and children, are always chasing a wisp of straw, a mere chimera, and are going through innumerable rounds of lives without obtaining what we seek. Such is the life story of each one of us. Such is the tremendous power of nature over us. It repeatedly kicks us away, but still we pursue it with feverish excitement. Love abideth forever. Say day and night, Thou art my father, my mother, my husband, my love, my Lord, my God. I want nothing but Thee, nothing but Thee, nothing but Thee. Thou art in me, I in Thee, I am Thee, Thou art me. Wealth goes, beauty vanishes, life flies, power fly, but the Lord abideth forever, Lord abideth forever. Stick to God. Who cares what comes to the God and to everything else? Through the terrors of evil, say, my God, my love. Through the pangs of death, say, my God, my love. Through all the evils under my sun, say, my God, my love. This life is a great chance. What seeketh thou the pleasures of the world? He is a fountain of all bliss. Seek for the highest, aim at the highest, and you shall reach the highest. Man, the maker of his destiny. Weak men, when they lose everything, feel themselves weak. Try all sorts of uncanny methods of making money and come to astrology and all these things. It is the coward and the fool who says that is fate. So says a Sanskrit proverb. But it's the strong man who stands up and says, I will make my fate. There's an old story of an astrologer who came to a king and said, You're going to die in 6 months. The king was frightened out of his wits and was almost about to die then and there from fear. But his minister was a clever man, and this man told the king that these astrologers are fools. The king would not believe him, so the minister saw no other way to make the king see that they were fools but to invite the astrologer to the palace again. There he asked him if his calculations were correct. The astrologer said that there could not be a mistake, but to satisfy him he went through the whole of the calculations again and then said that they were perfectly correct. The king's face became livid. The minister said to the astrologer, And when do you think that you will die? In 12 years, was the reply. The minister quickly drew his sword and separated the astrologer's head from the body and said to the king, Do you see this liar? He is dead this moment. The Gospel of Fearlessness. What makes the difference between God and man, between the saint and the sinner? Only ignorance. What is the difference between the highest man and the lowest one that crawls under your feet? Ignorance. That makes all the difference. For inside that little crawling worm is lodged infinite power and knowledge and purity, the infinitely divinity of God Himself. It is unmanifested. It will have to be manifested. This is spirituality, the science of the soul. Strength is goodness, weakness is sin. If there is one word that you will find out coming out like a bomb from the Upanishads, bursting like a bombshell open upon masses of ignorance, it is the word fearlessness. The only religion that ought to be taught is the religion of fearlessness. Either in this world or in this world of religion, it is true that fear is the sure cause of degradation and sin. It is fear that brings misery, fear that brings death, fear that breeds evil. And what causes fear? Ignorance of our own nature. Despair not, for you are the same whatever you do, and you cannot change your nature. Nature itself cannot destroy nature. Your nature is pure. It may be hidden for millions of aeons, but at last it will conquer and come out. Therefore, the Advaita brings hope to everyone and not despair. Its teaching is not through fear. It teaches not of devils who are always on the watch to snatch you if you miss your footing. It has nothing to do with the devils, but says that you have taken your fate in your own hands. Your own karma has manufactured for you this body, and nobody did it for you. And all the responsibility of good and evil is on you. That is the great hope. What I have done, that I can undo. The need for a guru. The soul can only receive impulses from another soul and from nothing else. We may study books all our lives, we may become very intellectual, but in the end we find that we have not developed at all spiritually. It is not true that a high order of intellectual development always goes hand in hand with a proportionate development of the spiritual side in man. In studying books, we are sometimes deluded into thinking that thereby we are being spiritually helped. But if we analyze the effect of study of books on ourselves, we shall find that at the utmost it is only our intellect that drives profit from such studies and not our inner spirit. This inadequacy of books to quicken spiritual growth is the reason why, although almost every one of us can speak most wonderfully on spiritual matters, when it comes to action and the living of a truly spiritual life, we find ourselves so awfully deficient. To quicken the spirit, the impulse must come from another soul. The person from whose soul such impulse comes is called the guru, the teacher, and the person to whose soul the impulse is conveyed is called shishya, the student. The qualification of the student. 3 things are necessary to the student who wishes to succeed. First, give up all the ideas of enjoyment in this world, and the next care only for God and truth. We are here to know the truth, not for enjoyment. Leave that to the brutes who enjoy as we never can. Man is a thinking being and must struggle on until he conquers death, until he sees the light. He must not spend himself in vain talking that bears no fruit. Worship of society and popular opinion is idolatry. The soul has no sex, no country, no place, no time. Second, intense desire to know the truth and God. Be eager for them, long for them, as a drowning man longs for the breath. Want only God, nothing else. Let not seeming cheat you in any longer. Turn from all and seek only God. Third, the 6 trainings. First, restraining the mind from going onward. Second, restraining the senses. Third, turning the mind inward. Fourth, suffering everything without murmuring. Fifth, fastening the mind to one idea. Take the subject before you and think it out. Never leave it. Do not count down. Sixth, think constantly of your real nature. Get rid of superstition. Do not hypnotize yourself into a belief in your own inferiority. Day and night tell yourself what you really are until you actually realize, your oneness with God. Are we fit for paradise? Some poor fishwives overtaken by a violent storm found refuge in the garden of a rich man. He received them kindly, fed them, and left them to the rest in the summer house surrounded by exquisite flowers which filled all the air with their rich perfume. The women lay down in the sweet-smelling paradise, but could not sleep. They missed something out of their lives and could not be happy without it. At last, one of the women arose and went to a place where they had left their fish baskets, brought them to the summer house, and then once more, happy in a familiar smell, they were all soon sound asleep. What we think, we become. Thought is all important for what we think we become. There was once a sannyasi, a holy man, who sat under a tree and taught people. He drank milk and ate only fruit and made endless pranayams and felt himself to be very holy. In the small village lived an evil woman. Every day the sannyasi went and warned her that her wickedness would lead her to hell. The poor woman, unable to change her method of life, which was her only by the means of livelihood, was still much moved by the terrible future depicted by Sannyasi. She wept and prayed to the Lord, begging him to forgive her because she could not help herself. By and by both the holy man and the evil woman died. The angel came and bore her to heaven, while the demons claimed the soul of the sannyasi. "Why is this?" he exclaimed. "Have I not lived the most holy life, preached holiness to everybody? Why should I be taken to hell, while this wicked woman is taken to heaven?" "Because," answered the demons, "while she was forced to commit unholy acts, her mind was always fixed on the Lord, and she thought deliverance, which has somehow come to her. But you, on the contrary, while you performed only holy acts, had your mind always fixed on the wickedness of others. You only saw sin and thought only of sin. So now you have to go to that place where only sin is. Enjoy the mangoes. The whole world reads Bibles, Vedas, Qurans, but they are all only words, syntax, etymology, philology, and dry bones of religion. The teacher who deals too much in words and allows the mind to be carried away by the force of words loses the spirit. It is the knowledge of the spirit of the scriptures alone that constitutes a true religious teacher. The nature of the words of the scriptures is like a huge forest in which the human mind loses itself and finds no way out. Ramakrishna used to tell a story of some men who went into a mango orchard and busied themselves in counting the leaves, the twigs, the branches, examining their color, comparing their size, and noting down everything most carefully, and then got up in a learned discussion on each of these topics, which were undoubtedly highly interesting to them. But one of them, more sensible than the others, did not care for all these things, and instead thereof began to eat the mango fruit. And was he not wise? So leave this counting of leaves and twigs and note-taking to others. This kind of work has its proper place, but not here in the spiritual domain. You never see a strong spiritual man among these leaf counters. Stick to one. Every sect of every religion presents only one ideal of its own to mankind, but the eternal Vedantic religion opens to mankind an infinite number of doors for ingress to the inner shrine of divinity, and places before humanity an almost inexhaustible array of ideals, there being in each of them a manifestation of the Eternal One. Yet the growing plant must be hedged round to protect it until it has grown into a tree. The tender plant of spirituality will die if exposed too early to the action of a constant change of ideas and ideals. Many people, in the same way of what may be called religious liberalism, may be seen fiddling their ideal curiosity with the continuous succession of different ideals. With them, hearing new things grows into a kind of disease, a sort of religious drink, mania. They want to hear new things just by the way of getting a temporary nervous excitement, and when each of the exciting influence has its effect on them, they are ready for another. Religion is with these people a sort of intellectual opium, eating, and there it ends. Eknisht, or devotion, is one ideal, is absolutely necessary for the beginner in the practice of religious devotion. The transformation of energy. Unchaste imagination is as bad as unchaste action. Controlled desire leads to the highest result. Transform the sexual energy into spiritual energy, but do not emasculate, because that is throwing away the power. The stronger this force, the more can be done with it. Only a powerful current of water can do hydraulic mining. How to be illumined. The element souls, the great ones that come to the earth from time to time, have the power to reveal the supernal vision to us. They are free already. They do not care for their own salvation. They want to help others. Upon these free souls depend the spiritual growth of mankind. They are like the first lamps from which the other lamps are lighted. True, light is in every one, but in most men it is hidden. The Great souls are shining lights from the beginning. Those who come in contact with them have as if their own lamps lightened. By this, the first lamp does not lose anything, yet it communicates its light to other lamps. A million lamps are lighted, but the first lamp goes on shining with undiminished light. The first lamp is the Guru, and the lamp that is lighted from it is the disciple. The secret to restraint. All outgoing energy following the secret motive is spirited away. It will not cause power to return to you, but if restrained, it will result in development of power. This self-control will tend to produce a mighty will, a character which makes a Christ or Buddha. Foolish men do not know the secret. They nevertheless want to rule mankind. The ideal man is he who in the midst of greatest silence and solitude finds the intensest activity, and in the middle of intensest activity finds the silence and solitude of the desert. He has learned the secret of restraint. He has controlled himself. Mind, the library of the universe. Knowledge is inherent in man. No knowledge comes from outside. It is all inside. What we say a man knows should, in strict psychological language, but what he discovers or unveils, what a man learns is really what he discovers by taking the cover off of his own soul, which is a mine of infinite knowledge. We say Newton discovered gravitation. Was it sitting anywhere in the corner waiting for him? It was his own mind. The time came and he found it out. All knowledge that the world has ever received from the mind, the infinite library of the universe, is your own mind. Grace and self-effort. Disciple. Is there, sir, any law of grace? Swamiji. Yes and no. Disciple. How is that? Swamiji. Those who are pure always in body and mind and speech, who have strong devotion, who discriminate between the real and unreal, who persevere in meditation and contemplation, upon them alone the grace of Lord descends. Sri Ramakrishna used to say sometimes, do not rely on him. Be like a dry leaf in the mercy of the wind. And again he would say, the wind of his grace is always blowing. What you need to do is unfurl your sail. Disciple. But what if the necessity is grace to him who cannot control himself in thought, word, and deed? For then he would be able to develop himself in the path of spirituality by means of his own exertions. Swamiji. The Lord is very merciful to him whom he sees struggling heart and soul of realization. But remain idle without any struggle, and you will see that his heart will never come. Disciple. Sri Girish Chandra Ghosh once said to me that there could be no condition in God's mercy. There could be no law for it. If there were, then the great Bengali actor, dramatist, a staunch devotee to Sri Ramakrishna could no longer be termed mercy. The realm of grace or mercy must transcend all law. Swamiji. But there must be some higher law at work in the sphere alluded by JC, to which we are ignorant. Those are words indeed. For the last stage of development, which alone is beyond time, space, and causation. But when we get there, who will be merciful, and to whom, when there is no law of causation? There the worshipper and the worshipped, the mediator and the object of mediation, the knower and the known, all become one. Call that grace or Brahman, but if you will, it is all one uniform, homogeneous entity. The goal and the ways. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest its divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of these, and be free. That is the whole of religion. Doctrines or dogmas or rituals or books or temples or forms are but secondary details. Ye children of immortality, even those who live in the highest sphere, The way is found. There is a way out of all this darkness, and this is by perceiving Him who is beyond all darkness. There is no other way. Maya and freedom. Let us not be caught this time. So many times Maya has caught us. So many times have we exchanged our freedom for sugar dolls which melted when the water touched them. Don't be deceived. Maya is a great cheat. Get out. Do not let her catch you this time. Do not sell your priceless heritage for such delusions. Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Hold your money merely as a custodian for what is God's. Have no attachment to it. Let the name and fame and money go. They are terrible bondage. Feel the wonderful atmosphere of freedom. You are free, free, free. Oh, blessed I am. Freedom am I. I am the infinite. In my soul I can find no beginning and no end. All is myself. Say this unceasingly. Sleep no more. My ideal intended can be put into a few words, and that is to preach into mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. One idea that I see clear as daylight is the misery is caused by ignorance and nothing else. Who will give the world light? Sacrifice in the past has been the law. It will be, alas, for some ages to come. The earth's bravest and the best will have to sacrifice themselves for the good of many, for the welfare of all. Buddhas by the hundred are necessary with eternal love and pity. Religions of the world have become lifeless mockeries. What the world wants is character. The world is in need of those whose life is one burning love, selfless. That love will make every word tell like thunderbolt. Bold words and bolder deeds are what we want. Awake, awake, great ones. The world is burning with misery. Can you sleep?